Hello, I'm Ricardo Levant, author of The Widow's Oil. And when writing a book, novel, screenplay, or article, and you're inspired by a specific source material, try to stick with that. You know, like, now I know we have to be creative. Trust me, I totally understand that. And be able to take a particular source material person's life and translate that for the medium we're using. That makes sense. I completely get that. Also, understand if you're writing a character piece about like Abraham Lincoln or Martin Luther King, then there are so many different plethora of sources to use, which means there's multiple different ways to be able to tell the exact same story. I get it. Totally understand. However, if your story is supposed to be from one particular source of information, please try to incorporate or use that information. The Widow's Oil is based on 7 verses from the Bible. Obviously, that's not a lot when you're trying to create an entire novel. So this meant I had to add a lot of characters to flesh out the story. Because I wasn't really skilled enough to tell a complete book featuring only the widow, Elisha, and her 2 sons, and maybe a debt collector. Yeah, I needed other people to help flesh out that story, to bring meaning and realism to the book. And most of the book, obviously, because of that, is, fiction. Now, I wasn't there, and nothing more was written in the Bible apart from these particular 7 verses. However, regardless of what I made up, when it came to the point of the story to include the 7 verses, I tried to stick as closely as possible to that situation. Their conversation, Elisha's solution, and even the widow's following through on that. Would I have chosen another way? Maybe, but that's not the story I'm telling. I decided to write the story that was written in the Bible, so at least that will be in the book. There are multiple times in books and TV shows and movies that take huge liberties with the Bible. Some passages can clearly state one incident, and the writer's like, you know what, I'm going to choose to do something different because that's how I feel. I understand that we want to do that as creatives, but if that is the case, then write that story. For this book, there are several other characters who have their own novellas, and that's exactly what I did. Nevertheless, the Bible inspired other novellas and characters in their stories, and because of that, I stuck a whole lot closer to whatever was written there. So, what I'm trying to say is if you don't like the story you're inspired by, guess what? Don't write it. I'm unsure why this is even a thing unless you're going into like a completely surreal fantasy. Like there was a story, a book, and movie called Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. That actually exists. But, you might look at that, be inspired, and says, well, I want to do something unique myself. And make a story called MLK Werewolf Slayer or something like that. Who knows? And you're saying that clearly to let people know this is a farce, this is you doing something completely different. But often, multiple stories and documentaries are written in a way that even the Bible might have one particular thing, they want to do something else. For me, I'll just stick with whatever is there. Then be creative with everything else around that. For all of you authors out there, please consider to do the same. If the Bible or another spiritual book is inspiring you to write, use that source information as your foundation, and then be creative with everything else around it. After all, there are some people who have a spiritual and deep connection to whatever's being written or told. For more on The Widow's Oil, visit Lavari.com, Widow's Oil, where you can find free chapters, videos, charity, and travel spotlights. It's available on Amazon and wherever books are sold, including hardcover, paperback, and Kindle editions. Thank you for your support, and have fun.